Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hello, I'm DJ Ross. I am in Mountain View, California.
Each week on Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week we're playing F-Zero 99 and Asura's Wrath.
F-Zero 99?
Yeah.
Did you play F-Zero 98? Oh, anybody make that joke yet? Anybody?
No, just you.
No. Okay. Just nobody talking about F-Zero these days.
Well, you're the guy who likes to play all the previous games before you play the new ones. So.
Yeah, well, I played all 98 of them. I didn't realize there was this new one.
Oh, interesting. This is the only F-Zero game I've ever played, so this might be an interesting conversation here.
I am very curious to hear what you think about F-Zero in the year 2023.
Yeah.
Whatever
Plus,
the year is.
Nintendo and Sony both did a thing last week.
Well, they do.
Yeah. Well, it's a Tokyo Game Show-ish time of year, and they did a thing. They did a direct, or whatever Sony calls their thing. A state of play.
State of play, yeah. I forget who I saw. People are just calling their things directs now. Like, everybody understands what that is, and it's fine. Nintendo hasn't sued anybody yet.
Nintendo owns that, though.
Do they? Do they
I don't know.
copyright
I'm
it?
sure it's got to be a copyright there somewhere, right?
They copyrighted Satoru Iwata's hand gesture, maybe. So you can call it a direct, you just can't do it in conjunction with that specific motion, or else you get a lawyer's knocking.
You can't do a little snap up in the air while you...
I don't know about the snap. Maybe that's a new thing. Maybe, yeah, like, I don't think you could copyright a snap at this point. Or maybe you could, I don't know.
Yeah. Nintendo would find a way.
They would figure it out, yeah. You know, the specific, you did the, what's the guy's name? It was the new CEO of Nintendo. You did his patented 3-finger snap or whatever. Snaps differently than everybody else.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know Nintendo likes to be kind of litigious sometimes.
Oh, yeah, no, they love it.
Yep.
If this whole video games thing falls through, they've at least got all their lawsuits to fall back on.
Just sue people for incorrectly or improperly using their stuff or not crediting them appropriately or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Snapping the wrong way.
Exactly. Oh, somebody from Sony snapped. We would sue them into oblivion.
They got other people really scrutinizing every Sony Direct that goes out. They're like, oh, did you see his fingers? Was he snapping the right way? Do we own that? Get him on the phone.
I was a little surprising that both Nintendo and Sony did their thing, but didn't really show any hardware. I'm not sure if this is necessarily the place where that comes from. I
don't think it's hardware time yet.
Yeah. Well, we have to get through Christmas, right? We've got to sell as much of the existing hardware as possible for holiday 2023. And then January 1st next year, we start the cycle over again.
Yeah, January 1st was maybe like December 26th.
Right.
Yeah, the Switch is getting pretty old.
Yeah.
Waiting for some relief.
I think we talked about last week how that there were, unsubstantiated rumors that they were showing off some new Switch hardware at some gaming conventions at PAX West and at Tokyo Game Show. Behind closed doors.
I believe that.
Yeah. DJ and I were not behind any of those doors.
No.
Our invite must have gotten lost in the mail, but
or were we? Can't talk about it.
Yeah, it's true. We are NDA'd to hell, I'm sure.
Did you see this video that came out after the Direct about the button colors that they used during the presentation?
No.
This was like, it started out, I read this, it was like Nintendo inadvertently reveals Switch 2 details, like first information revealed. And I was like, come on, guys, this is going to be some completely insane rabbit hole that somebody happened to notice. But I watched this video and I was like, maybe they're onto something. They pointed out that the colors in several of the games they showed off, the color of the face buttons correspond to the button color scheme on the Super Famicom controller. And also the new Nintendo 3DS, if you remember, there was an edition that had those colored face buttons. And they're saying it's not consistent with other games that they showed for the Switch up to this point, so maybe the Switch 2, whatever they end up calling it, will have colored face buttons. So not like a megaton feature announcement, but it's something. Which really is just like, please, Nintendo, just give the fans something to work with. At this point, they're desperate for information.
Just a little taste, please.
Yeah. I thought it was a fun video. It was not like, some ridiculous thing like those, remember all the Switch controller mock-ups that would, like, quote-unquote leak out before we knew what the Switch looked like? There was that one that was like a weird sort of oblong thing. It's not quite that level of just like, come on, guys, really? But just, kind of a fun thing to think about that they may have just revealed the face buttons.
I have noticed that since they were showing off this secret piece of hardware at the recent conventions, that there has been a resurgence in, dubious,
the rumors,
speculative art on the internet. There has been quite a few of those that have popped into my feed on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of a cool looking toy. I would play that, but I'm sure it's not going to look like that.
I kind of wish that the Switch 2, whatever it ends up being, it's just a more powerful Switch, which on some level is disappointing to me because Nintendo, they really go out of their way to try and like innovate with each new console to differing levels of success. But there's always sort of like that key feature that oftentimes they like end up almost designing a game around. Like Mario 64 was really designed to work with that specific like N64 controller, and then I don't know what the deal with the GameCube was, but then we had the Wii and the Wii U, and there was a lot of software that was like not possible on other consoles because of the just uniqueness of the new hardware. Right.
I mean, for ill or for will, though, because that makes it really difficult to get third-party developers excited about your thing, right? There has to be a sort of a bit of a utilitarian approach to it. Otherwise, you're not going to get ports from other devices. You're not going to get a lot of the games that other people are playing on the Xbox or PS5. So,
right.
So yeah, there does need to be a lot of parity, right, with the other things that are happening in the current generation. It didn't slow sales of the Wii by any stretch, but it definitely hurt the Wii U having that extra screen.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of ways they could have improved their marketing and just communication around it. Yeah. But with the Switch, I feel like they just figured out the formula. Like, it's not this crazy thing. It's like it's pretty innovative still. Nobody else is really doing it. And I think if they just did that again, I think everybody agrees they would like sort of just the Switch to be the baseline. And do they need a wild new innovative feature? I don't know. Unless it's going to be something, that just feels as intuitive as like the Switch. It's both a home console and a portable. Something nobody else has considered up to this point. Then I don't know. I don't want it to be like, I don't know, the Wii U 2.0. Not literally. I don't know what the like equivalent quote unquote innovation would be, but just something completely wacky and out of left field. Like they got the formula. Just make a more advanced version of it. Yeah,
I agree. I think you heard it here first. I think the next version of the Switch is not going to look terribly different from a Switch. I think that form factor works. It is in fact the form factor that other hardware developers are aping. You can certainly draw a line from the Switch to the Steam Deck, to that ROG Ally, that other whoever makes that thing, that other handheld PC gaming travel thing. So yeah, I think all of the stuff that has sort of come since the Switch is really kind of aping the Switch in a lot of ways because the thing that they did works. It doesn't seem likely that Nintendo would steer too far away from that goalpost.
I hope not. Although I wouldn't write it off completely just because, they're Nintendo and they do whatever they feel like doing.
Right.
So there's like 10% of me that's very scared they will do something super weird and just lose everybody again.
Right. Yeah. We just give up the next 10 years and come back again real strong and 2035. Do we agree that it has to be a hybrid console, that it has to be a portable that you can also plug into your TV?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's like expected, which is funny because I've amazingly enough, I've actually started using mine more in both modes. Usually I've just used mine docked for like the most of the Switch's lifespan. But I think, that is sort of the bare minimum people are expecting.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the other end of the spectrum is my use of the Switch is probably 95% undocked, is 95% handheld. So to court you and I in the future, they would have to create 2 separate SKUs, which, again, it seems like the days of Nintendo having a home console and a portable console that they support separately, those days are behind us, I think. So to satisfy both you and I, they need to make one that does both things.
Yeah, I don't really, if they decided it was going to be completely dedicated home console, I would probably still get one. But
yeah, I mean, same.
I like having the option. I think everybody likes having the option.
Yeah. I mean, there's no shortage of games on the Switch. The Switch certainly has 1 billion games. And even if the Switch 2 does come out and it's only a home console, the Switch will still have 1 billion games. So it's not like, suddenly I have to stop playing all the other ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know. We'll see. I think it feels like next year has to be the year, right? I mean, it's 2017. We are coming up on 8 years of the Switch. So
yeah,
it's time, guys. Although,
I think next year seems reasonable.
It still runs all the games I want to run. Yeah. There was something recently. What was the thing that I wanted to play recently that was sort of like, why isn't that coming out for the Switch?
Starfield.
Not Starfield. No, there was, I forget what it was, but there was some other game recently where I was like, oh, that's only on the PS5 and on the Xbox. I wish that was playable on the Switch too, but it was not announced for it. So.
Was it could it conceivably run on the Switch? Was it just a power issue, or they just didn't port it?
It would help if I could remember the game. I apologize for even bringing this up now, but this, I don't know. I'm not sure what I sort of couch as the reason for that is. I feel like, man, if they could get Doom and Quake and stuff like that to not Quake, Doom, and what was the other one? I guess Doom's probably the big beautiful shining star.
Are you talking about the fact that they can get these like next gen experiences onto the Switch,
right? Or as they were for a beautiful period of time. Although it does sort of seem like the PS5 and the Xbox are kind of moving a little further away from what the Switch is capable of these days.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period where there was some degree of parity there, and the version of Doom that came out on the Switch was perfectly serviceable and looked great and played fine. But I don't remember what the thing was that I was ogling recently and wishing came out on the Switch. But, no.
Was it Vampire Survivors? Because that's on the Switch now.
I've heard that it's on the Switch now. Nope. Was it Trombone Champ? Because that's on the Switch now.
That's on the Switch now. What more do you need?
Yeah, I have all of my games. If it occurs to me, I will record a supplemental episode and release it.
Okay. Good.
We'll find another hour to talk about that game in particular.
Just Thursday afternoon. Hey, it's Randy. I remember the game. Here it is.
Get on the mic quickly.
See you next week. Just like, what was that about? Who was that guy?
Get on the mic before I lose it again.
Well, now I really want to know.
Yeah. Me too.
Well, should we just spend the rest of the episode going through a list of releases from the last 6 months?
You go, was it...
Yeah, was it this game? No.
Oh, was it this? No, it wasn't that game. But that was a good game. Was it this game?
Final Fantasy 16.
No, it definitely was not Final Fantasy 16. No.
Final Fantasy 14.
No. You're just going to keep going backwards.
No, keep going. Okay.
Final Fantasy 13.
I was trying to remember if 15 was on the Switch. I think they put that silly cartoon looking version on there.
Yeah.
They'll get around to all of them eventually.
Was there anything they did show in that Nintendo Direct that piqued your interest?
Well, the most surprising thing to me was they're bringing back those Trace Memory / Another Code, I believe is the Japanese title.
Yeah.
These were DS games. by, I think these are the same developer as Hotel Dusk. Is that correct? But they were these sort of like puzzle / narrative games, or like almost like a point and click adventure game. Maybe not so much pointing and clicking, but adventure games that were pretty
kind of
offbeat.
like pointing and tapping.
Yeah, point and tap adventure games. Yeah, there we go. That I had just forgotten about. And since the days of the DS, they've become pretty difficult to get a hold of, if I remember correctly. In fact, the second one, I think, didn't even come out outside of Japan. But nevertheless, they just popped up randomly in the middle of this direct, and they're like, hey, we're putting both of them on the Switch. The second one's going to be in English for the first time, if that was indeed the case. So that was a big surprise. Like, I'm a huge fan of Hotel Dusk and just weird offbeat adventure games, especially from the DS years. So looking forward to getting a chance to play both of these.
Yeah. And I think these, correct me if I'm wrong, in the timeline of things, these predate Hotel Dusk, right?
Yeah, this was before Hotel Dusk.
Yeah.
I don't know if, apologies to Trace Memory fans. I don't know if they're like supposed to be good games. As many sort of experimental games were back then. It's like, oh yeah, we got some interesting ideas, but then the rest of the game was a little sketchy. But I'm just so curious to check them out. I'm really glad that they're giving people the opportunity.
Yeah, they certainly seem like something that was kind of lost to time because of the dual screen requirement. So it's cool that they are getting a second life on the Switch. Yeah. And that the one that never came out in the US will be available here. So, yeah.
I wonder what they're going to do about the dual screen thing, because I think, if I'm remembering, if this is the same game, mild spoilers, there was a puzzle you had to solve by like closing the DS, and then when you opened it up again, it would be solved. And you can't do that with the Switch, or at least you shouldn't do that with your Switch. So I don't know what they're going to do. I'm sure they'll have some clever workaround, but it's unfortunate. Like, some things like that may just end up being lost because of the format.
Yeah. Or changed outright to some other puzzle that's solvable with a single screen, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. And I have a faint memory of playing Trace Memory back in the day. I don't think I ever got through it, but I had a copy of it. I'm not sure if I still do.
There was that other one, Lost in Blue. Was that a DS game?
Yeah, I have a couple of those. They made a couple of DS ones. I think there was a Lost in Blue 2.
Yeah.
And there was a Wii one. You were shipwrecked on an island. It was a survival game. Brutally difficult survival game.
You were trapped on an island on both of these, right?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Okay, so I may be confusing one. Maybe Lost in Blue was the one where you had to close the DS, but who knows? Either way, looking forward to getting a chance to play Trace Memory / Another Code, whatever it's called.
Yeah. I was really surprised that they are, I guess not remaking Paper Mario: A Thousand Year Door.
Finally. Yeah. All the Paper Mario fans will stop yabbering or whatever.
I mean, every other Paper Mario game is relatively accessible. And Thousand Year Door is more or less kind of locked onto physical discs. You really can't sort of play it on any of Nintendo's kind of little gaming services or anything like that. So I was wondering if it was ever going to see the light of day on the Nintendo Online, but they've taken a different approach, and they're kind of remaking it note for note and making it beautiful in HD. And I guess that is sort of the next Mario game after Wonder and RPG.
Yeah. They didn't say when specifically it was coming out. They just said sometime next year. But
yeah, 24.
Yeah, I never played a Paper Mario, and supposedly this is the best one. So why not just start with the best one?
Yep.
Maybe I will check out the one on the N64 online thing, just because I'm curious to see how that would work. But I'm glad this finally got announced. Just in terms of like making it available to people, I've heard. I didn't actually read the fan reactions to this, but I heard that the diehard Paper Mario fans are already just being insufferable about. I don't even know what it would be because I don't know enough about this game. But there are just some people you can never please. So I'm scared to venture into those those areas, those enclaves where the Paper Mario fans live.
Well, I consider myself a diehard Paper Mario fan, and I tried.
But you haven't played Thousand Year Door? Come on.
I have not. I've that's
Get
the
outta
one
here.
I've not played. And maybe if I played it, I would be insufferable. But
yeah, maybe.
I hope that's not the.
Who knows what'll happen?
I hope there's not a cause and effect there. But yeah, this has been a thing I've been itching to play because it is generally sort of regarded as the gold standard of Paper Mario games. So I'm looking forward to finally getting my hands on it, and it'll be a big, beautiful HD remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else was there?
I don't know. Those are like the two big things for me.
Yeah, the Princess
A
Peach
lot
game.
of it felt like the Princess Peach thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
It felt like a lot of the rest of the stuff in the direct had already been like announced, and it was either like now it's available or here's an update on it. You know? But the Peach thing.
Well, that was the
exciting.
case with the Princess Peach, because in the previous direct they said we're making a Princess Peach game, but that was about the extent of it. We knew nothing else. But even the title had not seen any footage, and so finally in this direct we did see we learned the title is called Princess Peach Showtime, and actually got to see it in action.
It's so weird in retrospect that they even bothered mentioning it in the previous direct, because that was like a couple months ago. It was like during E3 season, and they basically said nothing about it.
I think it corresponded with the timeline of the Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, with the movie. Okay, that
and
makes more
Peach
sense.
was obviously sort of a cool character in that, and I think had kind of gotten some good press, and people were trying to find Princess Peach games. And hey, there's only one of them, so yeah, I think it was maybe Nintendo's way of saying, hey, we know you all think Peach is real cool right now. We're working on a game, I promise.
Okay, yeah, that does make more sense. But like compared to what they showed off previously, like this was basically the full reveal of everything that happens in the game, or like not everything, but they showed off how she will be changing costumes, and whatever costume she changes into has an effect on how the game works at that point. Like I was really thought it was very funny to see that when she changed to like a kung fu fighter, the game turns into what looks like Street Fighter, essentially, where he's just fighting one-on-one against somebody. Like, oh, wow, that is not something that I pictured Princess Peach doing. But I like that it's not just, you equip this costume and you get, like, your abilities change or something. It feels like, or at least my impression from the preview was that the entire genre of the game changes during, like, after you change costumes or whatever.
Yes, yeah, it very much looked like that. It's the conceit was that some new enemies, I think, to kind of the Mushroom Kingdom universe, had taken over a stage play that Peach was attending, and so she kind of goes backstage and changes into costumes, and the costumes give her different abilities depending on what she's wearing. So yeah, the DJ mentioned the kung fu outfit, so the whole stage play turned into a kung fu movie essentially, and there was one they showed that was a detective mode where she had like a Sherlock Holmes costume on, and she was looking for clues and things like that in a murder mystery.
Yeah, that one also looked really good.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, Peach in a lot of ways is a blank slate. Her ability is what she can float. So
yeah, that's about it. She can.
That's more or less all
jump.
that's has been explored for her in the past. So it seems really cool that whoever is developing this Peach game is really kind of going hard and giving her not just sort of one little set of abilities, but a ton of interesting stuff tied to whatever she's wearing.
Although, in her defense, hover jump is really all you need. That is like the most OP ability any Mario character has. So,
sure.
like,
not to diminish.
No wonder they didn't just keep stacking new talents on top of her. Like, she's got everything she needs already.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm glad it's not her just like, throwing fireballs or putting on a Tanuki costume, right? Like, we've already played that game. That game just exists. Like, give her own thing.
Getting real emotional over, whatever is happening in the other Peach games.
Wasn't that her like special power in the last game? Is she would?
Oh yeah, no, she would just like cry and get angry about stuff. It was not a great look.
problematic.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And that's soon. Relatively soon. It's March of next year, so not that far away.
Yeah. That was all, I think.
Yeah. Remaking some Tomb Raider games. There's some Splatoon expansion stuff happening. The single player Splatoon stuff is always great. I really dig the look of the new one they showed off, which is kind of stark white and minimalist in a way that Splatoon is generally not minimalist. It's very much maximalist. It's a lot of input. So they seem to have kind of really pulled back the aesthetic on the new single player DLC for Splatoon 3. So from a visual standpoint, it looks really cool and really unique.
Yeah, I remember thinking, like, I'm not really into Splatoon, but it seemed like they were doing something pretty different with that. So
yeah,
that's cool. Hope Splatoon fans are looking forward to that.
Very much so. And then, I guess sort of the last thing in there that it was exciting to me is Dave the Diver is coming to the Switch.
Oh, yeah, that game.
DG and I were just talking like a couple weeks ago, like, I should probably just play it. I've heard it's really good. I want to play it. It's only on PC right now.
That was the game. Oh, was that it?
No.
Oh, man. Oh, so close.
I should just play it on my Steam Deck so I could talk about it on the show. And then, like, the same week, by the way, it's going to be out on the Switch in, like, a month.
Yeah. Well, you almost played a good game.
Almost.
Close call.
Whew, saved me. Yeah. And then pivoting over to the Sony State of Play, it was real unfortunate that obviously Nintendo kind of brought the bangers early in the morning, and then Sony, like, wheeled out their sad little display.
Oh, man. I wasn't going to just get into it, but I don't know. I've been, like, drinking less coffee lately, and I literally fell asleep halfway through the Sony thing.
Oh, no.
I woke up and I was like, oh, Spider-Man. Oh, okay. No, what did I miss? Oh, just more Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man looks cool. I'm going to play that game. I think that looks fun. But it was like, look at all the costumes. I'm like, all right, come on, guys. Let's.
Yeah. Well, no, I want to see the costumes.
Yeah. All right. Well,
has he got more costumes in this one?
There's a lot more costumes. Yeah.
Can I play as Tobey Maguire?
Probably. I'm sure there's some costume in here that's Tobey Maguire.
I don't think it's called the
Tobey Maguire, but.
Oh no! But I want him to take the mask off, and it's Toby.
Oh, okay. Like fully motion captured.
Oh yeah. Somebody will mod him into the PC version, maybe.
But yeah, other than that, we had some Resident Evil DLC. We had the second half of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, second half. Wait, hold on. This is the third part in a trilogy.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the other 50%. It's only the 1/3.
Oh yeah, no, you thought we were done, but no, we still got another 5 years of Final Fantasy VII to look forward to.
Yes. There was an Avatar game. Who's into that? I don't know who that's for.
I think it's just James Cameron is what do they call it? Producing the entire game. He's funding the entire game himself just so he can play it on his like 80-inch TV at home.
Just out of pocket for James.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, it's gonna be so great, you guys. Does anybody else got Avatar? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
But no, it's a mystery to me, the whole Avatar thing.
Yeah. But
although I remember,
sorry, go ahead. You have more Avatar stuff.
I mean, it's not directly Avatar. That movie came out in like 2009, which was right before Star Trek Online launched, with its very robust character creator. I remember the first few months of that game, everywhere you look, there would just be some 8-foot tall, like blue Avatar alien. And it's like, oh man, they're like, it's an Avatar fan. There are so many of them. Like, where do they all come from? It was just the weirdest thing. It was either like an Avatar alien or it'd be Commander Shepard in my Star Trek game.
Oh,
but they do exist.
A very specific point in sci-fi history.
Yes, a lot of things happen
where all those things overlap. Yeah. I don't get the Avatar thing. It's not for me. It's clearly not a movie made for my sensibilities, or a series of movies now. With the sequel, man, it's been so long, and they just kept showing the trailers for it last Christmas over and over and over. And I'm like, who honestly is excited about this? Who is watching these trailers going,
it's only wait. James Cameron. He is so excited.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I can't wait to finish making this one.
So, like a lot of things lately, particularly as I as I maybe get a little older, spend a little more time on Earth, I keep watching popular, media and go, who is this for? Who's the target audience? Because it's clearly not me. And that's fine. There can be things for other people. I have no problem with that. It doesn't take from my thing. You can have your thing. But Avatar, really? Is that your thing?
Well, don't judge. When you get as rich as James Cameron, you can, single-handedly create whatever movie you want to watch. Make the video game adaptation that you want.
Yep.
Man, it must be great if you just make the movie and then go directly to making the video game where you just make it exactly how you like it. It's just like, oh man, they made that Avatar game and it's like a stupid first-person shooter or something. But it turns out that's James Cameron's favorite genre of video game, so he's all good.
Yeah. I mean, everything in those movies is digitally animated anyways. It's more or less a video game, so...
Right. They just put some button prompts over it. And he's like,
right.
Oh, that's all I needed.
It can't be super hard to port that onto the PS5. But anyway, we're going to get letters.
No, we're not. No, James Cameron doesn't listen to this.
Are we all unified in our lack of understanding in the appeal of Avatar?
I don't understand that. I don't know a single Avatar fan. I didn't send a friend request to all those people on Star Trek Online, or else I would, I'd have some in my contacts. But no, I just it's sort of lost on me also.
And so beyond that, the Sony thing was like anime games. There was
Was that what it was?
A thing called Foam Stars, which looks like Splatoon 3, but somehow on the PS5.
At home.
There was that Honkai Star Rail, which
people love that game.
Is the most anime-ass anime game ever.
Yeah. Is that the one? Is that the most anime game? I don't know.
It's like top 3, at least. It's certainly from my eyes. Yeah, so I don't know. Sony, you lost me, guys. You were doing so good.
I'm telling you, only the even-numbered PlayStation generations. So when Nintendo completely fumbles the ball with the Switch 2 and had those like a fishing rod mandatory controller for every game, PlayStation 6 is going to be amazing. It's going to be great.
All right, cool. I will just bide my time until then.
What, did they really not show anything else at the Sony thing?
Nothing that I can remember. Tales of Arise is getting an expansion.
No.
Helldivers 2. There's some VR stuff. There was that Ghostbusters VR game.
Yeah.
Baby Steps. I don't think I understand what Baby Steps is, but it's Bennett Foddy, the guy that made Quap, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say you basically just summed it up right there. It's the new Quap. You're controlling the guy's legs, or at least that's what it looks like as he climbs this mountain. And he's very inept because it's very hard to control the individual muscles in somebody's legs.
Yeah. And you can get some PS5 faceplates.
Ooh.
But yeah, I truly think that was everything. Have we covered everything? There's nothing else on this list. So there you go.
All right.
Sony.
Let me know when I get some PS6 faceplates, because those will be super good.
Okay. So yeah. With apologies to the Sony fans.
Oh, that's fine. They don't listen to this either.
I mean, I'm a Sony fan. I have a PS5. I would like there to be good games on it.
There's
You're going to play this Final Fantasy thing.
I'm not.
Come on.
The first one, man, you were on this show. I talked about it. The last 10%.
No, I wasn't here that week. I took that week off.
Oh, well, that's why it was so weird and one-sided. The last, not even the last 10%, the last hour of that game was so, went so far off the rails. I'm just no, I'm you lost me. That's it. I'm not doing it.
You guys broke Final Fantasy for DJ. Do you understand how hard you have to work?
Okay, look, there's Final Fantasy, and then there's Final Fantasy 7 is this weird specific sub region within the series that is there's all the stuff that they tried to branch it out into. They tried to make it this whole thing. So there was the base game, and then they did a movie, and then they did 5 other spin-off games, and all the spin-off stuff I think is just absolute garbage. It's like the worst. The base game's still really, really good. And that was like, a lot of that was in the first episode of the remake until the last hour of it. I was like, oh no, now it's turning into all the spin-off stuff.
Oh,
So
I do remember
now,
you explaining this, yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm not into it anymore. Although, man, the trailer, they show so many locations from the original game that I think would be super fun to go and visit. I don't think I'll never play it, but I'm absolutely not like, day one Final Fantasy VII, Rebirth.
Right.
I'm gonna wait and see.
Can I stump for one other thing that was announced last week, not at the Direct, but it will be coming to the Switch, is they are re-releasing all of the Picross games from the 3DS.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah. So all the Picross E, I think was the series on the 3DS, are being re-released as Picross S Plus on the Switch starting early next year. $5 a package. You get all of the games that were released for the 3DS for a $5 upgrade every time. And the ninth one only came out in Japan, didn't actually come out in the US, and will come out in the US on the Switch. So if you, like me, enjoy a good Picross game and need several thousand of these, this is a cool package that will be available next year.
See, normally I'm like, why do you need 100 more cross puzzles? Why don't you just delete your progress on like the first 100 puzzles and do those again? Because who can even tell if the second 100 are even different puzzles?
True.
But I think with most of these, they would also include sort of a weird like bonus mode, which would be sort of a spin on the usual Picross format. Like they would have like giant Picross or color Picross, which is one of my favorite variants. So I like the idea that like these will all be collected into one, I think probably just one Switch app.
One app, and then you can pay $5 to get the content from each of the previous Picross E games.
Yeah. So I think that's very cool. I'm really curious because I probably only played like one or two of the 3DS ones, and I'm very interested in just getting to check out all the little bonus modes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those were always very cool.
Plus whatever's in that ninth version, the mysterious one that too hot for America.
That has never been seen by American eyes before. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they keeping from us?
So yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that's cool. Again, it's fun that it's yet another game that has been sort of rescued from digital purgatory. That had previously kind of gone away with the eShop. These were not physical games; they were just downloadable and were lost to time and have been resurrected and will be available on the Switch. So they get a slightly new lease on life.
Yeah. Well, always glad to see more Picross getting out there.
Yeah. And then F-Zero 99, which is the game I have been playing quite a bit since it.
Yeah, new F-Zero game, everybody. Oh, just kidding.
Well, kinda. Sorta.
Well, I mean, like, not really, right? That's not what people wanted.
No, probably not. I know.
Saying like the monkey's paw curled all the way around until it imploded.
It is. It's funny because I heard the phrase "a monkey's paw" in relation to F-Zero 99 last week, and I wasn't quite sure what that meant, and I had to Google it.
Oh no, you never see the monkey's paw?
It's sort of the "be careful what you wish for," right? Is that?
Yeah. It's like the worst version of whatever you wish for is now you've willed it into existence.
And that's the monkey's paw.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I had not heard that phrase before, but I was listening to another podcast and they were like, "Oh, it's a real monkey's paw." And I was like, "Wait, what does that mean?" I had my next
Why are
red
they always talking about F-Zero?
At my red light, I had to Google it. What is a monkey's paw? And Google had to explain to me what it was. So I learned something last week. It was great. The internet is educational.
Yeah.
But I've not played F-Zero games before. This was my first F-Zero game.
Oh, well then this should be very weird.
So it's so what is F-Zero 99? It is another 99 game that seemed to have become a thing now on the Nintendo Online service. There was DJ and I were trying to recap these before we recorded. There's Tetris 99, which I like, which I think is a lot of fun.
Tetris 99 is great. Yeah.
Yeah. You playing Tetris against 98 other people. What else? There is the Pac-Man 99. There is the Mario 35, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was you playing kind of early Mario games against 34 other people. And now, yeah, we have this F-Zero 99, which is, I guess sort of the impetus for this is the Fortnite and stuff like that, right? I mean, it's the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole thing with Tetris 99 is that turn everything into a battle royale had
Right.
just become a meme. Like, oh, when are they going to do Tetris battle royale? And then they did, and it was
there it was.
amazing.
And it works.
But then they just keep making these things, and so
Yeah.
I feel like the novelty has worn off slightly.
I think it still kind of works. I mean, I don't know how many more of these are in the pipeline. But for F-Zero 99, it's fun. I think it kind of works. So F-Zero is a sci-fi racing game, sci-fi themed racing game. The look of F-Zero 99 is still very much of the what is this, original NES era.
It's based on the Super Nintendo version.
Oh, Super Nintendo,
which is the original one.
Very chunky pixel graphics, kind of chippy music. And you're running these big races in your souped up little sci-fi flying, I guess flying mobile.
Your machine. I don't forget what they call it. It was always like, edit your machine or tune up your machine in the garage or whatever.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, that's still in here. For folks that have played a lot of Smash Brothers, was it Captain Falcon?
yeah, he's from another game besides Smash Brothers.
Right.
Shock.
Captain Falcon is from F-Zero. So again, learning all kinds of things last week. And is one of the pilots of these machines. So you get the game starts off with you kind of racing against 25 people and then 50 people, and then it just kind of continues to expand until you get the full 99 experience, and it allows you to go online. So there's a good tutorial. It does sort of ramp up the intensity. It does layer in some abilities that you have. The conceit here is that you have to have enough power in your battery to be able to cross the finish line. Every time you bump into a bumper or bump into another racer, you lose a little bit of your power. You can make the judicious choice every now and then, the calculated choice to burn off a little bit of your battery power to be able to get a boost to hopefully zoom ahead of the pack. But you do need to have enough juice to be able to finish the race. When you're racing against other people online, they sort of, at the end of every lap, they narrow the pool. This is one of those battle royale conceits where the circle on the map gets smaller and smaller, and if you're caught outside of it, you die. That exists in F-Zero 99 as well, that if you're not in the top 75, 50, 25 after every lap, you just get kicked off. Your cart explodes and you have to go back and start over, or you can spectate for a while. So
makes sense.
So you have to race to the front of the pack and kind of hold your position there. So
you said you're not racing against all 99 at first? You're just racing as 25?
Initially in the tutorial, you're only racing against
that's
small
just
collections of bots. And you can go back to that kind of offline mode later, but once you get a little further in, you get past the tutorial, and it lets you go online and gives you the full leaderboard visibility and stuff like that. Anytime you go into an online race, it's you and 98 others.
So how does that even work? Like, how is it not just complete gridlock at the starting line? Like nobody can even turn their car. Because
the starting line is like a mile wide.
Okay.
It starts with kind of an overhead drone shot of all of your little pixelated sci-fi racers, all 99 of them waiting to start. It's this sort of mile long road with all of them lined up neatly. And then you hit the start button and you shoot out. So you get the kind of this funneling effect essentially, where for the first, maybe quarter of the first lap, it's really, really wide and it narrows. There's a bunch of boost pads. There's some other little options and stuff like that you have there to kind of distinguish yourself and move ahead quickly. If you hit all of those things appropriately, you can get a little boost off the jump too if you time your button press well. Hopefully that you are at a place where you're not, like you said, in complete gridlock as the road narrows and it turns into the full track. So it's not everybody sort of lined up bumper to bumper waiting to get off the jump, because that would be insanity. You're all lined up side by side, and it just sort of funnels in and gets narrower and narrower from there.
Okay, that's interesting. I couldn't figure out, like, I didn't play this, but I was wondering, like, are they just sort of doing like ghost racers for certain sections of it? Because I couldn't imagine just packing 99 cars into one of these F-Zero tracks, which like especially in the Super Nintendo version were very narrow. Like
Yeah.
you could barely fit 4 cars on one of those things.
I suspect they've been expanded quite a bit. I don't know
Yeah,
what the
sounds
original
like it.
racetracks look like, but they would have had to have been made bigger and have longer runways and stuff like that to be able to work with 99 others, with 99 racers. So it does feel congested at times. It does. There are points where I sort of like go around corners, or you go through a couple of like sharp, hard, like 90-degree turns in a track, and they'll just be like littered cars littered everywhere. There's little devices, and you go around a corner, and like suddenly you're a complete stop and just trying to navigate your way through, pixels of space in between other racers. Because if you bump them, you lose a little bit of your power,
Hmm.
and so you have to be careful. But yeah, so it is this kind of push pull between like being super congested and super gridlock, and just kind of threading the needle in a lot of ways and trying to zip through some of the more hokey pokey players on the map to try to get ahead and hopefully protect yourself, insulate yourself a little bit from taking any damage.
Hmm.
One of the fun things in the game too is that if you, I guess the F-Zero version of the blue shell is you can pick up little gold drops that are littered all over the raceway. And if you fill up a certain a meter by collecting enough of them, it opens up a separate highway
Oh.
that your little hover ship zooms up and you race above all the other players. That gives you kind of a fair or unfair advantage, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But it is this like see-through iridescent, not a rainbow road, but something similar that allows you to kind of fly above all of your competitors. And you can boost through that straight away as well, and hopefully kind of land on the other side ahead of everybody. And that has been pivotal to me being able to kind of eke out some very narrow. I've never been number one in a race, but I've been in top 15 quite a few times.
Pretty good.
Which feels really good. Yeah, out of 99 players, and racing games are generally not my thing, but there's something about this that has kind of clicked, and I like the kind of risk reward, kind of calculated choices you make throughout the course of the race. It's been real fun, and I've had a lot of races where I basically kind of careen across the finish line on just a sliver of battery power left.
Energy remaining. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get across the finish line and you're still full of energy, I mean, you've wasted it, right? You should be using it.
Yeah. You're gonna be riding it right down to the wire.
Yeah, so I do sort of feel like that's the way it's supposed to go. If your objective is to finish with a full battery, you're probably not racing correctly.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
man, that really take me back to all the hours I played at F-Zero on the GameCube.
But I like it a lot. It's fun. It's super cute. It's I like the little animated little racing machines. You do get a garage where you can soup them up and put little stickers and icon and stuff on them. You get little perks and advantages and tickets that you can use for upgrades and to get into more exclusive races and things like that as you race more and more. They've already announced that they're planning on doing events with separate challenges and other things like that, which were always really fun in Tetris 99 to kind of earn the Animal Crossing skins and stuff like that for the Tetris 99 boards. I suspect there is something similar planned for F-Zero 99. So yeah, it's been a pleasant surprise. The price is right. I mean, obviously, if you have a Nintendo Online account, you can play this thing for free. Yeah, it has been a pleasant and surprising diversion for me over the last week.
Huh. Well, that is not something I expected you to say you were playing. Have you gone and checked out the original version on the Super Nintendo app?
I haven't. No, is it in there? That'd be interesting. I should check that out.
It is in there, yeah. It starts out like the difficulty curve is pretty typical for like Super Nintendo games back then, where you just start out and you're like, oh man, I am the pro F-Zero player. I am so good at this. And then 3 or 4 races in, you're just like, oh, wait a minute. Why am I suddenly the world's worst F-Zero player? Like, what is going on? But very fun game to spend a little bit of time with. I think the N64 version is on there as well, if you have the expansion thing.
Oh, I do.
Quite a few more cars in that version, I think. Well, although I don't... Oh, maybe I think there might have been a mode that had 99, or just like you were supposed to just destroy as many of the other cars as possible. I forget what that number was. I spent, like I was saying, I spent so much time playing F-Zero GX, which was the GameCube version. So good. We're still, all the F-Zero faithful are just waiting for them to announce, like, I feel like we don't even want a new one. Like, there's just no way to improve on F-Zero GX, so just give us that one again.
F-Zero GX HD.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's all we want.
Was that the last F-Zero game? Has it been?
That was the last one
as the GameCube. Oh, that's a bummer.
On the GameCube. Well, there was this weird like Captain Falcon thing in the, Nintendo Land on the Wii U, but I don't think that counts. That was the last time we saw any F-Zero stuff outside of Super Smash Brothers.
Well, cool. I mean, I have fun with this. I have no emotional investment in the F-Zero series. I'm not sure if this is offensive to F-Zero purists or not, but it has been a lot of fun to play and a lot of fun to sort of explore this property that obviously a lot of people like DJ love, but I've never had the chance to kind of encounter before. So it reminds me a bit of the Wipeout games. Do you remember Wipeout?
Oh, sure.
PlayStation. Sort of this sci-fi jet car racer thing. Super fast speeds, and you had to be very careful about the way that you kind of used your power and careened around corners and stuff like that. And those games were tough, but there was something kind of appealing about them. And F-Zero feels a little bit like that.
I always prefer the F-Zero. I mean, that F-Zero GX especially, and like F-Zero X on the N64, they always felt like I preferred the handling on those because it felt more like you were driving like a car. I mean, it doesn't really feel like you're driving a car, but the vehicles in Wipeout feel like you're driving just some sci-fi machine that doesn't exist because they were like so like floaty, and you really had to like get used to like the specific way that they moved and sort of like drift around corners. Which I'm not saying like the Wipeout games are all really great, but it was just not really what I wanted in a racing game.
Yeah. F-Zero, I think when I first started playing it, I wanted to play it like Mario Kart. And it's not that. I even went through kind of all the devices, all the machines, and tried to find one that they're rated on kind of grippiness. And I'm like, I want one that's like, what's the highest grippiness? I want one that doesn't sort of feel like it's going to fly
just give me the egg car from
right. That's
Mario
not going to fly off the side of the road at any time. And even the most grippy one is still a little bit like racing on ice. So you do have to be very particular about the way I think and cautious and careful about the way that you handle some of the more intense curves and corners in these games. It doesn't feel as as playable as a Mario Kart game, or certainly as Mario Kart 9 or 8.
Right. Sorry. There's still a bit of a learning curve. I think it turns into a lot of like learning how to drift around corners and maintain your speed, because those are the fastest machines generally.
Yeah.
But it was never quite as weird as Wipeout, where it felt like you almost had to be like turning into the third or fourth curve down the road, or just like really looking way ahead on the racetrack.
Yeah. I do remember that, yeah. What did I have that on, PSP or Vita? One of those that had a Wipeout game. Probably both of them, if I remember correctly. And spent quite a bit of time playing those. But yeah, F-Zero seems to exist in a very similar kind of like sci-fi racer universe, I think.
Yeah. Those are always sort of like the big two. It's like, are you an F-Zero fan or are you a Wipeout fan?
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Well, at least that's how I think of it.
So you should check it out. If you're an F-Zero fan from way back, you might have a good time with this. And I need friends on the leaderboard. None of my friends are playing this. I keep going to the leaderboard to see if there's anybody I know who's in there. And am I better than them? And no, I'm not seeing a lot of people. I'm not seeing any of my friends pop up on the leaderboard. So I would love to get some folks in there.
I'm not enough of an F-Zero purist where I was like, I'm like boycotting this. Like, I'll never play F-Zero 99. But like when it started to leak out that they're like, oh, there's a Nintendo Direct coming up, and F-Zero fans might want to watch this one. I'm like, no, they're not going to announce any F-Zero game. And when I saw it was F-Zero 99, I was like, okay, well, that just figures. Of course, it's F-Zero 99. So I will, it wasn't at the top of my list, but I will play it eventually.
So we teased Asura's Wrath quite a few weeks ago, months ago, I think probably at this point. I'm glad we finally have gotten to a point where we have enough time for you to discuss it.
Oh, do we? We're like at the top of the hour. Maybe I'll just push Asura one more week out. He's been waiting so long.
I mean, how much Asura's Wrath content do you have? Do you have a good...
I have so much to say about this game. Are you kidding me?
You got a tight 15? No? We're talking... Okay.
I don't want to rush through Asura's Wrath. I mean, he's been waiting so long.
Have I really just done Nintendo Direct and F-Zero for a full hour?
We talked a little about Spider-Man.
No.
No, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I feel like we have to put a disclaimer at the front of the show. Tell people.
No, people just expect it now. They're like, oh, Asura's Wrath. Yeah, they're not going to talk about
that. With apologies to Matt Damon, who we had to bump for time.
Yeah. With Matt Damon as Asura.
Matt Damon!
Oh, man.
All right. Well, now we have a lot of time. What else? What's the last good movie you saw? What's the last good record you bought, DJ?
Oh, what was the last good movie I saw? I don't even think. Oh, man, dude, I just watched Top Gun Maverick again.
Oh.
That movie is great. It's
really?
I can't it makes no sense that it's as good as it is, but it's just like, remember going to a movie and just being blown away by like, oh man, this is what movies are about. Like, you couldn't do this on TV. Just like big, larger than life action sequences. Like Tom Cruise is in it. Tom Cruise is always terrific. Like, I wasn't even a huge fan of the original Top Gun. In fact, I don't even think the original Top Gun is very good. But this one absolutely, like, this is what the first one should have been. It's just like really great, like fighter jet sequences, just kind of like actual action sequences that you get invested in, even though, I mean, I guess a lot of it is practical effects. I was going to say, I also watched the new Indiana Jones, which I just couldn't get into because it's like all CGI chase sequences, and I don't care.
Really?
But yeah, Top Gun Maverick, just really, really entertaining.
I'm I recall seeing the first Top Gun as a kid in theaters with my stepfather, and he loved it. My dad likes like war movies and Tom Clancy novels and things like that, so it was very much his thing, and I think I was too young to sort of appreciate it. Yeah, when I 30, 40 years later they're making a sequel, and I was not, I'm like, cool, I guess that's fun for somebody, probably for my stepfather. But yeah, I didn't feel like it was for me, but people loved it. It certainly sold a ton of tickets. It was, I think, very pivotal in kind of getting people comfortable with the idea of going back to a movie theater after having not done it for 3 years. So,
just Tom Cruise's top grossing movie of his career
is Maverick.
Like, is that true?
Really?
But apparently it is. I mean, if you believe Wikipedia.
Wow. Sure, I choose to.
Okay, yeah. Generally, you can believe Wikipedia.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't think that's appointment viewing for me, but you're like now the 50th person to tell me that it's a really entertaining movie and maybe I should watch it.
I had no expectations for it. I was just like I said, I'm not a fan of the original, so I was just like, why are they even making this? But no, it's like, it's extremely good. It doesn't make any sense.
What did I watch recently?
It's like, do you remember the first time I saw Terminator 2, I was like, how good could this possibly be? And I was like, oh, wow, it was actually really good. So yeah, it's kind of a similar thing.
And they never made a good Terminator movie.
And then they never made another one.
Yeah.
The last 10 minutes of Terminator 3 are amazing, but that is all.
Is it really? Okay, I don't know that I remember that. We'll have to discuss that offline.
Maybe not amazing, but they're very surprising. Memorable.
I watched that one where they brought back Linda Hamilton because I was like, oh, cool, Linda Hamilton. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm. How was that?
It was not great. It was not great. It was not great. No. Maybe you should have stayed retired. It's certainly no fault of Linda Hamilton's that it wasn't a great movie. It just didn't really give her much to do, unfortunately.
Sure. I feel like Terminator is just, I don't feel like it's one of the like franchises that needed to just continue for 30 years.
Sure.
But they really wanted to make it a thing. Like, everybody loves the big, scary skull robot. So it just kept making them.
I mean, that was quite a thing in the 90s. It was.
It was.
Yep. Well, Well, cool. This has been DJ's movie moment.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, well, I'll
Tune
try
in
and watch
next week.
more movies for next week.
Yeah. I haven't seen a movie since Oppenheimer.
Was that good?
Yes. I mean, it's a really well made movie. It's quite emotional. It is a hard watch though. It is very.
Oh, is it? Interesting.
Yes, it's heavy. It's a very heavy movie. So I saw Barbie a week before, and everybody kind of walked out, kind of jubilant and high fiving and talking about their favorite parts and singing the theme song and stuff. And then I walked out of Oppenheimer, and it was just dead silence, like Death March to the bathrooms. It was tough.
I can't imagine people coming out of that and just being like, "Oh, that was great. Yeah, I had a great time
singing the Oppenheimer theme song." Yeah,
yeah.
It was tough. Yeah, it was very well made. Everybody sort of acting in peak form. It's nice to see Robert Downey Jr. like doing acting things again and not just being Tony Stark. We've talked about that on the show. But a tough watch, real hard. Ideally, the preferred order, if you're late to the party trying to do your Barbenheimer, certainly do Oppenheimer first and then close with Barbie.
Really? Is Barbie, is that just not going to sour your entire Barbie experience?
No, you'll need the pick me up. You need the jolt of you need the jolt of positivity. So yeah, I did it backwards. Unfortunately, I should have chosen smartly.
I feel like I would just not be in the mood to watch another movie after Oppenheimer, because isn't it also like 5 hours long?
Oppenheimer is 3, Barbie is 2. So yeah, the whole venture is a 5-hour ask.
Ugh, that's long. It's a lot of movie.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways.
Anyway,
guess that's about it.
Okay, now we're past an hour. Now we can wrap it up.
Okay, cool, excellent. We have hit our arbitrarily determined time for wrapping up a podcast. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/VGHangover. And you can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com. We would love for you to hang out with us on Discord. You can chat about video games, chat about movies. What have we been chatting about lately? I don't remember.
Talking
Picross games.
Picross, yeah, always Picross.
So, lots of stuff. It's pretty chill. It's a chill crowd. If you're looking for kind of a fun, laid-back corner of the internet to hang out and chat about video games and other stuff, you can go to VGHangover.com and get an invite to our Discord.
Yeah.
We would love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice. If you're listening to us on YouTube, give us a little thumbs up. Say something nice maybe in the comments. That'd be excellent. And maybe help us out by telling your friends about the show. Yeah.
That really helped us out. Get the word out to more listeners. Bring them in. Get them telling us what they thought about Oppenheimer and just how depressed they were afterward. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really appreciate it if you tell your friends about the show. That's one of the best, I guess.
Yeah.
Ways to bring in new listeners.
It's the only way, really. I mean,
it's really, I wasn't trying, I didn't want to say only, but yeah, it's really like our biggest avenue of marketing that we do.
Yeah. We don't have billboards on the highway or anything, so.
Yeah, not yet. Well, they took down that one that we tried to put up.
Yeah, it was a little racy.
Oh, man. Yeah, speaking of little racy, we want to give thanks again to Fear of Dark for our intro and outro music this week. You can head over to fearofdark.bandcamp.com if you'd like to hear more of his work. While you're there, maybe add a bunch of his albums to your cart and hit checkout. That would be terrific.
Awesome. We'll be back next week. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.